particularly, I think it's about opportunity and how opportunity is distributed much better and much more precisely than it is talking about race. And actually, I think that this obsession with race in America is another ploy now that it's coming from the left to keep people divided so that way it can keep serving as what a lot of Howard Zinn fans like to, talk about. It's like, oh, well, see, the whole racial divide started because they were trying to keep down the rebellions against the landed property owning class. And so they kind of started the lie of white supremacy to kind of keep the poor white folks in line. It's like, well, yeah, I think they're just doing that now in reverse. They're basically essentially keeping this racialized narrative alive so that way everybody's now talking about race or now gender and sexuality and all this other nonsense. And as a misdirect from the real issues where it's like, well, listen, I can still keep robbing everybody blind and heading out the back door. You guys keep arguing about race. You guys keep arguing about, boys versus girls. I'm gonna get my money and head out the back door while you guys are fighting. So anyway, I think things kind of heated up for me during during the Obama administration. Another hot take. I think Obama, maybe not a hot take. I think Obama is the most overrated president in American history. I think that, yes, I do think that a large reason why he was elected was because he's the first black appearing person who can speak in a way that made enough people be like, I can understand what he's saying. I can resonate with what he's saying, and I like what he's saying. Okay. And that's why he got elected. I'm not saying that he's not a good speaker. I just don't think that what he's saying is particularly all that interesting or profound. But I think that's why he got elected. I think it was the country saying yes, we are ready to have a black person as the president of the United States. This guy, if it's not this guy, who could it be? So people were like, make it this guy. This guy's the guy. And any kind of deviation, and I saw this early on with the fact, the way people in my community were talking about it, the fact that McCain even dared to run, the fact that the Republicans even dared to, it's like, guys, I thought this was a democracy. I thought this was supposed to be a race between two people that we think might have the edge. And we have them get into a ring, they debate, and we vote for the better person.
Right. And I don't know if you've seen this, but the amount of respect that McCain had for
absolutely, yeah, right. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I still remember the time when the woman was getting up in this town hall and saying he's a Muslim, whatever, and he's like, no, ma'am, whatever. Yeah. Takes the mic. So yeah, absolutely. But it's just people in my community were just shocked that there was even a guy running against Obama. How could you run against Obama? I mean, so what? It was supposed to just anoint this guy the king of the country, and that's how it works. Anyway, so I saw a little bit of that happening, and then moving in to college, and then after college, yeah, anytime anybody disagree with Obama, because you're racist. Oh, you don't like his budget proposal. Oh, well, are you a closet racist? It's just guys, this can't be your default every time somebody disagrees with Obama in one of his policies. And that basically became the default of, well, if you don't agree with this narrative or you don't agree with this ideological push, that means you're a racist, and so that you just secretly hate black people. And it's just no, we don't. Right. And so then you had obviously the Trayvon Martin, you had all this stuff. And I just would say these things and be like, okay, but yeah, all right, George Zimmerman did this thing. And that I started out neutral on that. I was just all right, look, why is this guy, shooting a kid? What's going on? But these things kind of moved every time. Then it was Michael Brown, and it's just okay, but don't charge a police officer. Don't look like you're going to charge a police officer. I mean, I don't know. Didn't we all grow up learning that? Why, if you're stealing whatever. So these things kept happening, and I could never really, I would ask the question, okay, but he was committing this crime though, right? Yeah, but why did that matter? It's because it matters. If you were doing a crime, you don't just get to do crimes because you're black. It's that's not how this works. Well, I mean, but you don't have to kill him. It's okay, but you upped the ante. You did something that made the officer feel okay, well, this could go one way or it could go a totally different way. and I'm not willing to take that risk. And I'm like, okay, well, I side with the officers then.
Right.
And nobody's been able to convince me of like, yeah, listen, if you get stopped by the cops for any reason, your first reaction is not to argue. It's not to yell. It's not to be obstinate or ornery or any of these other things I see on a routine basis on every one of these videos. Your first reaction is, thank you, officer. What's the problem? Do what they tell you to do. And if you really feel as though that you've been mistreated in any way, you fight it in court.
Right.
You say, I'm taking this to court.
Right.
That's what you do. That's what the system is supposed to be. And people, it's not working because people don't want to do that for some reason. They want to, well, no, nobody going to talk to me like that. It's like, dude, just calm down. Calm down. You know?
Control your reaction.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Fuck yeah, bro.
Yeah, it's a great setup.
I'm surprised.
So I would see these things and I'm sitting here like, yeah, look, I'm not sold. I'm not sold on any of this stuff. Then you had the whole Colin Kaepernick thing, and it's like, well, the NFL, they don't want me because it's like, dude, what are you like? They don't want you for a whole host of other reasons. Yeah. Partly because you're kind of an asshole. And so it's like that doesn't. It's
not playing well too, by the way.
And he wasn't playing well, and I'm just sitting here like, you know, dude, like. So anyway, and again, this is also I would always hear all the time my favorite thing. Right, well, lived experience of black people. Okay, this lived experience of this black person is saying I am not experiencing all the stuff that the media keeps hopping and insisting every one of us is experiencing. I am not experiencing that. Actually, when I see police officers, I'm always gonna like, what do I have to do to get you guys to actually acknowledge that I exist? Like, what do I need to? Okay, sure, I'm short. Okay, I'm not huge. I'm not big. But I'm sitting here like, all right, but like, you're saying it's like, oh, it's like any black. It's like driving while black, walking a neighborhood while black. Now, I need to say this because I think it's important. I had the experience back when I was working for a Democratic campaign in upstate New York.
Okay.
At the time, it was the New York 21st district.
Okay.
It was actually the election that saw Elise Stefanik first run and then win. Okay. And actually got to speak to Elise Stefanik. I was supposedly to be like a Democratic Party plant to go to because my workplace at my co-op was hosting her at the time. And so they wanted me to kind of go in there and ask her some like gotcha questions and then film it so that way they can say, oh, like, you know, run ads, I guess. I was like, oh, I don't know about that. I feel weird about doing stuff like that. I feel like that's kind of low. So I kind of backed out. But I did ask her a question. It was some super 2014 specific question. But anyway, I only bring that up because as I was canvassing for her Democratic opposition, I was stopped. And I knew I was stopped immediately. I saw the officer come and, you know, it was in the fervor of like, oh, all these black people getting killed for no reason, supposedly. And so, you know, I'm like, all right. Yeah. So I see this officer come, and I look at his face, and he's like, he's already like, like, F my life, man. Like, why do I have to deal with this? So anyway, he comes up to me. He's just like, hey, listen, I got to do this. I got a call basically that. Just somebody was like walking around the area, whatever. I was like, hey, yeah, no worries, man. I'm just kind of doing some like he was already like walking away from me to go back to his car. Right. I was like, hey, man, like, listen, do you need to see what I'm doing? Like, I got the. He's like, no, it's fine. Like, whatever. Just go back to what you're doing. I just had to check it out. And so I was just like, yeah, look, I got stopped probably because somebody saw a black person in the neighborhood, you know, knocking on, it was like a relatively wealthy neighborhood, knocking doors, leaving like literature there. And I'm like, look, I get it. It's not great, right? As a black person to be like, well, why do I like, that wouldn't happen if I was white. That wouldn't happen. It's like, yeah, you're right. But here's the question, and this goes to the bigger theme as to why I'm so animated about this topic. It's just like, well, why do you think that is the case? Why do you think it is the case that I would get stopped, but you guys probably wouldn't get stopped? Just why? Why do you think that is? And it's just like the uncomfortable elephant in the room. It's like we all know the why. And the issue that makes me angry about this is that it's not all black people. It's not most black people, but it's always a black person usually when we're talking about certain types of crimes and connecting. It's just like, we have the problem. I think my view is every racial group has their own problems. They have their own advantages. They have their own struggles. We seem to have this issue with like, we have a lot. We have a certain set of issues, and I think why is the question never? Why are we over-indexed in the criminal justice system? Why are we over-indexed? And I'm not coming at this from this angle of, because America just hates black men and want to throw us in jail. It's like, no, that's not it. Okay. I'm a black man. Okay. No, I literally have to beg people to be like, hey, throw me in jail. And it's just like, that's not happening. So I guarantee you that's not some secret plot to throw every black man in jail. Okay. It's the fact of the matter is that when I go somewhere and I conduct myself where other people go and conduct themselves, it's like, most of the time they're like, I'm trying to get the work done. I'm trying to do my thing, feed my family, live my life, be an American, whatever. Okay, I'm not trying to cause a scene. I'm not trying to do all this extra stuff, you know. But it's a very vocal minority of people in my community that insist on like, well, no, you're just criminalizing black culture. Okay, well, why does black culture have to be the thug? Why does black culture have to be some, acting like an idiot? I'm sorry. It's just, I'm really tired of this. And it's frustrating to me because it's like, I get lumped in with you guys. It's just like you insisting on this. Now I get lumped in. Now I get the apologies for things from friends of things they didn't do. I'm just like, guys, stop apologizing. Like, what are you apologizing for? Right. And then on top of that, it's also like, oh no, bro, you got to be into like Nikes. You got to be into like hip hop. You got to be into like, all this other stuff. I'm like, I want to talk about Napoleon. I want to talk about like the Battle of Hastings. I love European history. I go to my fiance. I'm like, the biggest thing I want to do with her is I'd like to go to a Vienna ball. Like a classic old school, old style ball where you get dressed up in ball gowns and the guys wear a tuxedo with tails. Yeah, and you go.
That sounds so awesome.
And I'm like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to Germany and go, oh, well, hey, they have a large population of black. It's like, cool. I could go to New York for a large population of black people. I want to see something I don't see every day. And that's that. But it's just like, as a black person, people come up to me and tell me, oh, well, yeah, why do you want to live in the village? Well, because I like space. Yeah. Oh, don't go to the village. It's like racist over there. It's just like, I probably doubt that they're racists. And to the extent that they're racist, they're probably like, yeah, listen, I see from the media a certain image and you look like the people who fit that image. So, okay, who are you? What are you about? Right. I think that's totally fair to be like, hey, listen, what are you about? Who are you about? Why don't you just demonstrate to me what that is? And I'm like, oh, well, this guy's actually a pretty cool guy. All right, yeah, I don't mind him living here with us. I think very few people are actually like, I just hate black people. I don't like black people. Even if I met a black person who's basically just like me, I still hate that guy. That person does not exist. Or if they do exist, that person has almost like no power, no authority. They have no real relevance at all in 2026 world, let alone America. But we run around acting like somehow this is like a latent threat. Right. So that to me is some of in a nutshell, and I could go on and on about this.
No, I totally understand.
Go how it is.